The following is a presentation of TFNN. Mindful Living with Allie Ford and Tom O'Brien.
Sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, Allie Ford and Tom O'Brien.
Namaste, everybody, and welcome to Mindful Living. It's Allie Ford and Tom O'Brien, and we want to help you get healthy, feel good, and live life to the fullest every single day. It is a beautifully sunny, warm 88 degrees here in Tampa Bay.
The heat's come in.
It is. I'm loving it. You know, I was just in Denver this weekend.
Yes.
And it was cool. It was like 70 degrees nighttime. And
isn't that nice?
Yeah, maybe upper 70s during the day. It was it was interesting. I mean, a nice little break from the heat. But
the weather's been great here, though.
Oh,
it's just the last few days that it's really come in.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I mean, I wasn't expecting that.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
It's funny. I missed my, tank tops and my shorts and the beach weather.
It's good having no clothes on.
It really is.
We say that in the context, folks. We don't wear a lot of clothes. We wear clothes.
Yeah.
But it really is. It feels
freeing.
good. It is. It feels
so
good
freeing.
to your bones. Yeah.
It does feel good to your bones. So how you doing?
I'm doing great. Yourself?
I'm doing really good.
How is your student training going?
Oh my gosh, awesome. So 17 people graduating this Friday.
Yeah.
It's been intense.
The parking lot's jammed.
Yeah, the yoga studio.
Right.
I tell you, White Orchid Yoga, so we've got this June intensive, a 4-week intensive. It's been 6 days a week, 8 hours a day. 17 beautiful, strong individuals finishing the program this Friday.
They got to be psyched.
They're all teaching this week, so they're doing their teaching practicums.
Oh,
they took their final today, so there's been a lot of nerves, a lot of anxiety, but a lot of laughter, a lot of tears. It's been a very moving experience.
Nice.
It's been a great month, yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We're going to have a little celebration ceremony Friday afternoon.
Oh, yeah?
A little hot tea and cookies.
That's it?
That's it. We'll be just over the moon because, I think they're ready. They're done.
Totally. That's good.
I've got a couple other programs coming up. I've got one starting in Shreveport, Louisiana, end of July, July 26th to 8th. I think there's 3 spots left in that one. So, yeah, it's busy. Things are good. I know. I'm very grateful. Gratitude is coming up a lot for me.
That's
because
huge.
The reason I went to Denver this weekend was to see a girlfriend of mine who is healing from ovarian cancer.
Okay.
She the most amazing woman, one of the most amazing women I've ever known in my life. And she's one of those people, when you meet her, you just don't forget her.
Yes.
And shocking, she's only 43, and she was diagnosed with stage 3 ovarian cancer, 3C ovarian cancer. And, I've learned a lot about it through this process, that women should ask more questions at their annual exam when they go to their OBG, because sometimes they don't test for ovarian cancer.
Okay.
And the reason it has not the best percentages is because they catch it so late usually.
I see.
And it spreads. So, but when I saw my friend this weekend, man, she looked awesome. They did the surgery, they got it all out, and now she's doing her chemo, and her attitude is amazing.
Really?
Her perspective on life. I mean, she's surrounded by the people she loves, friends and family, and I think that's so important when you're healing.
Sure.
But man, we laughed a ton. I was there for 4 days, and
well, you know what? I mean, I guess when you face something that's life-threatening, you're either going to get really depressed, or you're really going to realize life is a beautiful thing, and you're going to grab all of it.
That's exactly right. That life, every minute. I read this awesome quote this weekend. I tweeted it actually. It said, "Every minute is a beautiful, unpredictable surprise," and that you should just, stay in the moment, because it's exactly what it is. A surprise and unpredictable each and every moment.
Oh, it is. No, it definitely is. And yeah, it is.
So, it made me start thinking about what is it inherently that we have, that we do as individuals, as people, to maintain our happiness level. And that's what I want to talk about. The show is the secret to happiness. And interestingly, I Googled this.
Okay.
There's a ton of studies out there.
Thank God for Google.
I tell you, it makes life so easy.
They don't even need this show anymore.
I know.
No, folks, no.
Because I know what makes me happy, and I know what yoga teaches. The most inherent quality, which we'll talk about at the end of the show, that yoga teaches really supports your happiness, regardless of external factors.
Yes.
But I started kind of pinging around and asking my friends and family, and I tweeted it and I posted it on Facebook, what makes you happy?
Interesting.
And I got some really interesting feedback.
Did you?
Yeah. So you know Shelby.
Yes.
Who's a yoga teacher.
I love her, yeah.
She said her quote would be the hero of your own story. You literally control it from the second you wake up to the second you go to sleep.
That's beautiful.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And she's not talking about controlling life, right?
No.
It's an important difference, to make, and that is we can't control our life, but we can control how we react to the life, to the things that come up. And she's been through some stuff, so I really appreciated her perspective.
Well, and I would bring that another step, because it's not controlling life, but what I do believe is that we have the power internally, okay, to be whatever we want.
Yeah, I agree. I feel the same. I think that's why I like you so much. I feel like we're kindred spirits.
No, seriously,
I believe it.
Because that's where hope is, that's where faith is, that's where spirit is, that's where respect is, that's where we're all one.
That's right.
And waking up in the morning saying, oh, what are we going to do today?
Yeah.
Well, that's a good way to wake up. I mean, because it's like, okay,
you have the other choice. You can wake up and say, it sucks today.
Yeah, right. And that happens if I drink too much Sambuca.
Right, exactly. Once in a while. Yeah. But it's not your go-to.
No, it's not even close. It's not even close.
It's not your default.
No.
I'm with you. I feel the same way. In general, I mean, let's face it, life is life. We talk about it a lot. It gets hard. But at the end of the day, we do get to choose happiness. And I think it's a lovely way to live life. I think it's an important perspective. For some of us, it comes more naturally. Some people have to work.
Right.
And some people may have chemical imbalances they're working with. But that's what I love about this article that was just written yesterday that talks about 10 scientifically proven things you can do to increase your happiness.
And what I think happens is that the longer Bridget, myself, and her daughter Ellie last night, we were having a conversation, we were eating. And what I realized, Ellie's 15, and the longer that you get experiences and you get rewarded for those experiences, the easier all of life gets. Because then, and we were talking about spirit, we were talking about not happiness in general, but we were talking about spirit, just about respect, spirit, that what are we? Do you know what I mean? What are we?
A feeling of connectedness. Yeah.
Okay. And as I was talking, I says, this gets interesting because, like anything else, if you get rewarded, well then, I was just saying, I says, I'm telling you, every time you get rewarded, it's like, okay, how does this work? It generates it at a much higher level, because then you realize, hey, it's we can pick it out, and it's one, and it's all of those above.
It's true.
And we do have the choice, because before I really understood it when I was a kid, if someone would bum me out, I said, I'm not getting on your trip. I figured out that, hold it, that's their trip. It's not my trip.
That's right.
But you want to bring me down, go bring someone else down.
That's
I'm not going to buy that deal.
Yeah.
But that took a while to get, and that was when I was in my 20s.
Yeah.
But then once I realized that, I said, oh no, that's their trip. It's not my trip. I might be hanging with them, but that ain't my trip.
Well, it's interesting. There's a study that talks about how as we grow and age a little bit, we get more wise, that we're less sensitive to negative energy.
Right.
So that's very interesting. You pointed that out, that maybe that's a phase we go through where we're a little bit more sensitive to the energy around us, and more easily brought down by people who are maybe feeling negative around us. But it is something we can learn to be, of course, empathetic toward, but less sensitive to.
And that's where fear comes in. Because then you fear this, you fear that. I mean, that makes sense, because you don't know the differences. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you react differently.
Yeah.
You react versus not react.
Exactly. And instead of choose to respond.
Right.
So I asked my husband what his most important tip for happiness is.
Okay.
You know what he said?
What? Playing soccer. No. Oh, he must be in heaven right now.
The World Cup.
Right,
oh my gosh.
Right.
I'm in heaven, and I was never even that big of a soccer fan. I'm loving watching the World Cup.
Okay.
U.S. and Portugal, how crazy was that? 2-2.
I know.
That's crazy insane.
Exactly.
We should have won that
Too
game.
late. Exactly.
So, but
tomorrow's the game. Okay. Right. Yeah.
I love it. I'm digging it. No. So I asked my husband, what is your most important tip for happiness?
Yes.
He said, happy wife.
Oh, there you go. You're right, honey. You're absolutely right.
Exactly.
Well, that's the 6 words. You're right, honey. You're absolutely right.
Yes. Just say it over and over. Happy wife, happy life. So I thought that was very sweet.
Yeah.
But, you know, so if you're looking at this scientifically proven things you can do for your happiness, you mentioned soccer, exercise is the #1 thing on the list.
That would make sense.
I agree. Let's face it. When you feel good physically, you feel better mentally. You feel good about yourself. There's all kinds of, you know, chemical things that happen in our body.
Sure.
Endorphins and proteins are released from the brain that, you know, help you feel they're just naturally in a better mood. So exercise is key. And what's funny, if you think of people always find excuses not to exercise.
Right.
The #1 is I don't have enough time.
And you want to live or die, folks. That's what it is.
You have a choice. Today, listen, and it's important right now. I mean, 1/3 of American adults are obese.
Right.
And that's largely due to what we're eating, but also because we have a more sedentary lifestyle these days. We sit around a lot. You know, we drive everywhere, we sit in chairs, we're not walking as much. Exercise. And it's proven that as little as 10 minutes, maybe even as little as 7 minutes a day can make a huge difference. So just get up, go for a walk. You know, stand up at your desk. I remember when I had an office job.
Yes.
In the corporate world, I asked for one of those ergonomical desks.
Yeah, which is dynamite.
Where you stand up.
Right.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, there were times a friend would walk in and I'd be typing an email doing leg lifts behind me. I mean, I'm not...
Yeah, you're psycho. It's all right.
It's all right. I fully admit it. I own it. It's important to me. I want to stay fit and healthy,
totally,
you know?
Totally.
And I think that science shows it's important, you know?
No, I absolutely. That's it. No, it is. I can see how that's #1.
Yeah.
Because two different things that are happening. If you're, you know, getting a little weight on, then it's harder to exercise. Then you're feeling lousy. I know. You know, listen, we put 5 or 10 pounds on. It's like what?
Yeah.
It's like the end of the world. I mean, but it's weighing you down.
I mean, that's right. You're weighing you down mentally.
Grab a sack of potatoes and start walking around all day long.
And energetically, it's true. And what's interesting is, even if you don't lose weight, let's say that's not even a goal of yours, exercise lifts and tones and just keeps everything functioning more readily.
Right.
So you just feel better anyway, you know? So get out and exercise. Go for a walk.
And, of course, when you're going for a walk, you're seeing trees, you're seeing people, you know, you're seeing the neighbors.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Out in nature.
Right.
That's another beautiful way to improve the mood.
It's gorgeous.
Oh, it's so important. I mean, right here in Florida, I try to get to the ocean as much as I can. Get my feet in that water.
Our ocean, folks, is unbelievable. In fact, this year... I think I told you last week there was the cleanest water I've ever seen in 14 years.
Yeah, it's really beautiful.
I mean, it was insane. My insane is beautiful, folks. Just
right.
so you know.
I know what you mean. It is. It's funny because, you know, the water's getting really warm.
Yes.
But we really only have waves on the Gulf Coast on near new and full moon.
Right.
So it's normally like a big swimming pool.
Right. Exactly.
And you can see straight down to your feet. It's awesome.
Isn't it?
I love it.
And we have a new moon coming
Friday.
I can't believe it's 4 weeks already.
It's full.
Because I remember the last time we were talking about new moon. The new moon, you're supposed to start your journal, right? I got to start a journal. I don't have a journal.
We'll get you one.
I got to do a journal.
Yeah, really handsome looking, something that, you know, you like to look at and you like to open and write in.
Right.
Yeah, it's coming up. Friday's the day. So avoid making any commitments on Friday and just try to rest, relax, meditate, do some yoga, lay low, and enjoy the moon.
Yeah, totally.
It's awesome. All right, the next thing on the list that you have to do to stay happy, folks, sleep.
Right.
How many people are not getting enough sleep these days?
I think a lot.
A lot. A lot of people. And, you know, we talk about this a lot. The #1 reason people aren't sleeping so well is because people are stressed out and they're anxious. And so there are lots of things we need to do to relieve the stress in our life so you can sleep at night. But, you know, this made me look more into the science of sleep because people ask me all the time as a yoga teacher, how many hours of sleep a night do I need? And obviously that's going to depend on different factors. Depends on how old you are.
Yes.
It depends on what's going on in your life.
Right.
So, for example, babies, infants, need about 16 hours.
16, wow.
16 hours.
Isn't that cool? Okay.
They're growing so fast. And
I bet those mothers don't think they sleep 16 hours a day.
I'm sure they don't. Well, usually they sleep during the day.
Oh, there it is. There it is. That's why.
Wants to be awake.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Seriously, right? Yeah.
So that's an issue. But yeah, infants need 16 hours. Teenagers, about 9 on average. 9 hours on average. And if you remember when we did the show on child psychology,
yes.
Teens are a big group that aren't getting enough sleep these days. So we'll talk more about that.
They sleep with their phones.
Yeah. And usually they sleep with it. They're vampires. All right, give us a call, folks. 877-927-6648. Let us know what makes you happy. We'll be back with more Mindful Living.
get a good feeling.
In quiet markets, investors search for new trading opportunities. We'd like to introduce you to a new product that provides opportunities even in flat markets. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a new and innovative Chicago-based exchange registered with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their trading platform. Nadex never charges a fee to use their platform, which even includes real-time charts and full customization capability. Nadex's unique short-term binary options allow traders and investors to capitalize on strategies even when the underlying markets are quiet. Nadex's innovation has allowed them to come up with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com, or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
We're told to follow our passion and everything else will fall into place. I hope that's what each of you are doing each and every day. Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Money Master Show at TFNN.com, and my passion for technical analysis is what led me to the most fundamental discovery in pattern recognition, the Rhodes Momentum Indicator, market scanner, and trading strategy, a set of tools that identify the momentum and power of the trend, the likes of which have never been seen before, for every market and every time frame. Yes, folks, the trend is your friend, unless you're on the other side. New to technical analysis? This is the place to start. And experienced traders take advantage of the trend like never before. Experience the power of the Rhodes Momentum Indicator each day, available to subscribers of my newsletter service, Mastering Probability. I guarantee your satisfaction for the next 30 days unconditionally, so there's no risk to you other than being on the wrong side of the trend. Mastering Probability, available on the homepage of TFNN.com. And folks, live with passion.
No matter where you listen to TFNN programming, we want you to know you can always access your favorite shows on demand through TFNN.com. TFNN airs live programming every market day from 9 a.m. till 6 p.m. Eastern, and you can view each program accessing Tiger TV through our homepage. We even have an easy link for all mobile devices, including iPhones and iPads, located at the top right-hand corner of the TFNN homepage. You can use your smartphone to view Tiger TV, but if you don't have a mobile connection that can keep up with streaming live video, then you can simply visit TFNN.mobi in the browser of your smartphone for live streaming audio of all of our programs. The mission of TFNN is to educate our audience directly and interactively through our interactive website and radio call and talk shows. TFNN is able to teach all levels of investors the technical skills needed to trade in today's marketplace. In order to get the best information possible, TFNN has assembled the most respected financial minds in the country to provide the most current news and comprehensive advice available. TFNN.com. Educating investors. Yesterday's gone. Tomorrow's not here. What are you doing right now? Mindful Living with Allie Ford and Tom O'Brien.
Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah.
Welcome back to Mindful Living, folks. We're talking about factors that can increase your happiness. And we just got a beautiful tweet from a listener who said listening to our radio show makes her happy.
Wow.
Isn't that sweet?
Thank you very much.
Thank you for listening.
That's cool. Yeah, totally.
So cool.
Totally.
Yeah, so, you know, when I see somebody who is going through a really hard time in life and yet still seems to be so joyful, genuinely joyful in their heart, it makes me think about this, because how many people do you know who seem to have everything, who seem to have it all?
Right.
And aren't happy.
I know, that's heavy.
They're constantly complaining.
That's heavy.
And miserable.
Right.
So it makes you think. It makes me think, you know, where's the joy? Where's the happiness coming from?
Well, what gets interesting about that one, it's like, okay, why aren't they happy? And is that just because they're following Mr. and Mrs. Smith and everyone wants to be the other person?
Maybe.
Or, you know.
The grass is always greener.
It's an intriguing question. You know what I mean? Because you know what I've found? I've found that I've actually learned more from a situation like that than the opposite situation. Because it's like, oh, I don't want to be that.
Yeah.
That, you know, so it's sometimes an elimination, because you're so right when you see that. You say, oh my God, you know, why?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh, we've had.
But I think a lot of that has to do with they don't realize how precious life is. I think if you really understand how precious life is to begin with, that's an easy starting point. And some of us get luckier. I think that understand that,
who get that understanding earlier in life, or maybe who knows, developed it over the past life, who knows. But it's interesting because this reminds me of one of the principles of yoga, and it's called santosha.
Yes.
And santosha means contentment.
Right.
And it teaches us to pause and just for a moment think about what we have. And for a moment, focus on the positive in life, you know, instead of on what we don't have. And that's, there's an interesting question one of my teachers asks, and that is, what's the difference between contentment and satisfaction?
Okay.
So it's a good thing to think about, how do you develop contentment versus satisfaction? And a lot of people would base their happiness on an external factor.
Yeah.
And that's when we use the word satisfied. If you think about it, if you're really hungry, I'm not going to be satisfied. You might even have had 3 meals, one after the other.
Right.
And then you hear someone say, but I'm not going to be satisfied until I get that piece of double chocolate cake. Yeah. Even though they're not hungry, they're just not going to be satisfied because their mind is fixated on something that they have convinced themselves they need to be happy.
You know what's so cool about this? I'm really glad you're doing this show right now with this. No, I am. This is interesting. Folks, doing radio or TV or anything, when you're the host or the hostess, it's cool because you're always learning. Okay? No, seriously.
I agree.
So check this out. That contentment and being satisfied, right? Sometimes I think I'm too content. I'm not kidding, okay?
No, that's a very interesting point.
Okay? Now, check this out, though. As I talk, I'm saying to myself, well, I'm content, I'm satisfied, but guess what? I'm wicked aggressive, folks, okay?
Yeah.
But that is creative. So what ends up happening with me, right, is a trip. So whether it's this business or the real estate business, right, what ends up, I just love doing it.
Yeah.
And it's not even, I want to build this and build that, but when I wake up, I'm totally content. Sometimes I'm too content. I'm saying to myself, man, I could just sit there and groove. But I won't because I want to create this and want to create that. Isn't it funny, though?
It's interesting. Actually, I think a lot of people would probably be a little envious of that attitude because it's not that you're complacent, right? There's a key difference between contentment and complacent. So content would be you're living your life to the fullest.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing.
I'm digging it.
You are attacking life, if I may say so myself. And yet at the same time, you wake up in the morning with a sense of internal joy, not so thrown by the outcome of all your efforts.
No.
So, and so that it's not that you're not trying to live or be successful or achieve your goals. I mean, a contentment would say do all that. It's just that you can't lose yourself if the outcome of your work doesn't turn out to be exactly as you expected it to be. You still have to stay happy inside.
And you know what's cool about that? That goes back to being with your loved ones and all that too. Because I know it's not it's not the bread. It's what it can get you, but it's everything else. It's the oneness and all that too.
That's
Do you know
right.
what I mean?
The connection for sure.
So it is intriguing though.
Yeah. So that's a good question. What's the difference between content and then complacent? I mean, complacent. It's a good question for the listeners. If you have a comment or a thought on that, give us a buzz or tweet us. I feel like complacent would be almost giving up on life.
Yeah, that's bummer. Yeah,
opposite of what you just said, where you don't have the hope, you don't have the joy, you don't have faith that, something is going to work out. Faith in life in general.
Yes.
I think complacency would be hanging up the hat.
Right.
It's not going to get any better than this, so why even try?
Right.
That's that attitude.
That's a very dangerous place to be.
It is. It's unfortunate. Because then you have put yourself in a box as though nothing is ever going to change, and you miss out on your life. You close your eyes to each and every opportunity that comes to you in every moment of life.
And you're giving up your own power. We're so powerful internally ourselves, okay, that you're just giving that up. It's like, why are you going to give that up? That makes no sense.
This is so interesting we're talking about this because I have got these beautiful individuals graduating from teacher training this month, and they have been working so hard. Today we were talking about the business of yoga, which of course I want to do a show on because I know a lot of new yoga teachers out there have questions. I get questions weekly via email about, what can I do as a new teacher? How can I be successful? What should I charge? Do I need a contract, etc.? All kinds of great questions. But a couple of people today brought up, what if I don't feel ready? What if people give me a bad critique after my yoga class? What if people don't want to pay what I asked to charge? And
yes.
Yeah, I think, where's that coming from?
Right.
You know, you haven't even gotten out there and tried, and already you're doubting yourself, already you're judging yourself. You have to believe in yourself. And of course, I mean, what we're talking about, that believing in that power, it's not coming from me necessarily. It's tapping into a greater connection.
And you know, when in business in general, just even life in general, okay, you have to produce. Well, you don't have to produce, but if you want to produce, you want to produce. Mm-hmm. You can go back to Bill Gates. I do a million things, and not everything is tied up. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, they're going to work or not going to work. And then you fix, you know, you go along.
Sure.
In fact, I had a little saying in my wallet. I forgot what it is. But Bill Gates, okay, Windows, right? Uh-huh. He was known to turn around and say, okay, get that product out. Then they fix it. You got to get out there.
Yeah.
You got to get on the mat. They got to get out there and teach. I got to get out there and do this. You got to get out there because if you want to do it, you're going to straighten it out in 2 seconds.
That's right. You just have to try.
Yeah.
And you learn, and you always learn. You know, you just be willing to put yourself out there and grow.
I just figured out my own satisfaction and complacency and creativity.
Just right here, right now.
Yeah.
All right, so you know what another factor for happiness I thought was so interesting, and it takes me back to my old life? It's shorter commute.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That's big.
I think about my own father, who commuted an hour each way to work and to home.
Yes.
Every single day. That's 2 hours in a car, if the traffic was flowing relatively smoothly.
Right.
Oftentimes he was in the car longer. I mean, and studies show that even a better job, even a bigger house does not compensate for the stress and pain that sitting in a car in traffic can cause. Isn't that interesting?
Listen, I told you, when my kids were young, I moved from Milton to Weston because I was an hour and a half driving to school every day, and an hour and a half back.
Wow.
And then, guess what? I can be 20 minutes. Moved, best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
It was like insane.
It changes your life. It changes your world.
And right now, from where, well, we're 10 minutes away from the studio, folks, and that's on a traffic day.
I know. I think about that all the time. I'm so close to the yoga studio. I'm so close to TFNN. I kind of live in a little bubble, and I love it.
Yeah, we are in a bubble. There's no doubt.
I mean, I can ride my bike everywhere. You know, in fact, my husband and I do share a scooter sometimes. You know, it's awesome.
Right.
But I remember talking to some of the happiest people I know who were in a commute in California. I had just moved to Florida, and all my best friends were still in California, and I would call them later in the day when they were commuting to work. And the happiest person I knew would be the sweet, bubbly, "How are you, Allie?" and suddenly go to Dr. Jekyll. "What are you thinking? Get out of the way." I mean, the traffic would just send them. And I would think, do I even know this person? And I'm like, who am I talking to?
Oh, my God.
A lot of us are very reactive to the situations in life. And traffic happens to be one of those things.
And when you add that up on a weekly and monthly basis, you're talking about a full work week, 40, 50 hours a month.
I know, isn't that, because you can't do much sitting in the car. I mean, a lot of people unfortunately get on the phone, but that puts your life in danger. You know, you don't want to be texting or emailing while you're driving.
No, not even close.
So change it if you can. And if you cannot, you got to do some deep breathing when you're in traffic. Remember the deep breath we talk about a lot. 7 rounds, 4 counts in and 4 counts out. So you can stay calm and actually add to the hours of your life rather than deplete them because you're freaking out in traffic.
Right.
You got to stay calm, people. All right.
So how are your class doing with the chanting and with the meditation?
Awesome. Yeah? Most of them...
Because you incorporated that more into this class, right?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Well,
okay.
Actually, every training. So we start the day with a physical practice, asana practice.
Right.
And then we follow that with an hour of Sanskrit chanting.
Right.
And meditation.
That's right.
About 20 minutes of meditation.
Yeah, right.
And, you know, it's just so powerful. I mean, to me, I feel like this group is all so into it, and they're trying, and the vibrations that we're creating in the room, and of course, the meditation is just so healing.
Right.
It's awesome. I know, not everybody's going to take to the chanting. There's probably a couple who are,
chanting's
maybe
fun, folks.
Oh, it's so
chanting
healing.
Is fun. Yeah.
My chanting CD's rocking it too.
And
it's doing really well.
In fact, we got to show them on the website where
on AllieFord.com under products.
Yeah.
You will see my Sanskrit chanting CD. It's called Gratitude. Chants for Healing and Harmony. Check it out. We'll be right back.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investment strategy. You're always looking for the next trading opportunity to magnify your perspective. Direction Shares connects sophisticated traders with a powerful array of ETFs from a wide range of asset classes. The markets may go up and down, and you want tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Who says you can't take it with you? TFNN says you can. With your mobile device and TFNN's live radio streams, TFNN has put it all in the palm of your hands. No special apps to download. No subscription fees for live radio or Tiger TV streams. We say you can.
Now let's go over to the dollar, because the dollar is going to be the generator. It is the generator of basically higher dollar, lower market. And what the dollar has done, and this whole uptrend, folks, has just gone sideways. The way it works, folks, is this.
We say you can. The Tiger Financial News Network. Smart investors and professional traders know you can. TFNN.com. Educating investors. Life is a mystery to be lived, not a problem to be solved. Mindful Living with Allie Ford and Tom O'Brien.
Oh, sometimes I get a good feeling, yeah. I get a feeling that I never had before. No, I get a good feeling, yeah.
Welcome back to Mindful Living, everybody. Tom and I are talking about how to stay happy. In fact, we're discussing the secrets to happiness, sharing some of our most important ways maintaining our own happiness, and discussing the article that was just released yesterday that talks about 10 scientifically proven ways to boost your happiness. So we talked about exercise, sleep, and getting a shorter commute. And you and I also talked about the fourth point, which is spend more time with friends and family.
Right.
And, you know, I always say when I get to go see my best friends or get to just have some quality time with my husband and kids or my parents, just my loved ones,
sure.
It's like a shot of love for my soul. It's literally soul medicine. You laugh if you need to cry, you talk, you feel a sense of connection.
Right.
And let's face it, when you feel alone in this life, things get really heavy.
Oh, big time.
So it's important.
You know what? When I was a kid, I never realized, we had a huge family. Mm-hmm. And would always be at my grandmother's house. And you're talking hundreds of cousins, right? Hundreds, not, And so it was always like that. And then I remember, now fast forward to, that's why I'm in the service, out of the service. And then the family is like maybe 30 or 40. And I was saying, I had it so made. We're over at our grandmother's house every Sunday. She had 13 children.
Oh, my gosh.
They had a bunch of kids. So my father, they're playing dice, they're playing craps. And that's how I grew up. So it is wild as you go through life, you realize that, I had it made there. And, I mean, all that sticks. But in reality, that was, to this day, always the most important. So every time I even see any of my cousins, like couple of them are coming down here actually in like 2 weeks.
Nice.
And I can't wait because it's awesome. Do you know what I mean? Because those go right back. It's like, whoa. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to say, even with a little bit of family dysfunction, I still love seeing my family. We have a great time together.
Sure, right.
And so, not everybody has that luxury of being so close to their family, but we can go out and, make friends or get involved in your community and get to know people. And this study also said that when you have relationships with other people, that as you grow your social network, you actually feel healthier because you get endorphins, you hug, you feel a sense of connection. We talked about how important it is to make contact, physical contact with other human beings. And the study shows that actually increasing social contacts increases happy, but increasing your salary, making more money every year, does not necessarily increase happiness.
No,
so
I
it just
agree
shows
with
you.
that.
I would too.
Well, inside of this, folks, what it says, in fact, the study by the Journal of Socioeconomics states that your relationships are worth more than $100,000. Now, this is kind of cool because in that characteristic, what they're talking about specifically is quality of life, folks.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because when we talk about earth, nature, food, okay, there's, well, 20 years ago, I had a guy on, maybe it was about 18 years ago, that was trading in the market. And he was basically, you know, equating, saying, hey, listen, you know, what we're doing to the earth is really important for the quality of life. And that has a price on it.
Definitely.
And that's when I really stopped paying attention, and it does.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. And those prices are worth more than anything. There's no doubt. You know, we all know that you can sit somewhere and get a spirit, and it's unbelievable. You say, wow, how am I, you know, feeling this great? But that's what happens. Because it's not, you know, it's not the bread. You know, like anything else, you want to be comfortable.
That's right.
There's no doubt about that. But the reality is that is not going to be the thing that keeps driving you.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's, of course, everyone wants to try and improve their financial outlook as best they can. But at the same time, we all know people who have a seemingly wonderful, everything they could possibly need and still are deeply unhappy, you know, deep in their hearts. You have to ask, where is that coming from?
Many people that are struggling, that's taking care of families, taking care of kids, and they're great.
Exactly.
I mean,
they walk around with a smile.
And yeah,
it's unbelievable.
You know, it really is. You know,
it is. We could all learn from that. I tell you, when I went to Africa back in 1997 to climb Mount Kilimanjaro,
right.
When we got down from the mountain, they had the people who were working at our hotel where we stayed. It was like kind of a yurt, like a tent almost, at the base of the mountain. Brought us hot water every morning in huge buckets on their heads. And I'll never forget the woman who delivered our water, delivered it singing every morning with
cool?
a huge smile on her face. And I thought, man, this is a perspective I'm taking home with me.
Right.
You know, I need to stop complaining.
Right.
It was very eye-opening. So in addition to that, another way to feel happy is to get outside. We talked about that. You know, we laugh all the time because in Florida, people are generally pretty happy. You talk to people who live in generally cloudy places like London or Seattle.
Yeah. That grayness is tough.
Seattle,
if you listen to us in a gray area, folks, just come down to Florida.
Come on. Or when the sun comes out, get out of your house, get out of your office and go for a walk. Say hi to your neighbors, shake hands, and enjoy that sunshine. The beautiful blue sky represents new beginnings, right? The clouds part, and it reminds you of the possibilities that are always there. Sometimes we get a little clouded, you know, those possibilities, that blue sky is always there. Sometimes there are clouds in front of it, so connect with that. Help others.
Yeah, that's a big one.
It's a big one.
Right.
You know, I think I'll just say it's simple as this. When you take a minute to help someone else, it takes your focus off your problems, your own problems.
Right.
For just a minute, you know, gets you out of your wallowing and your woe is me. And
it's important that no matter what anyone's situation is, that you don't want to see anyone hurting. That's the real bottom line.
That's right.
And because when you think about how lucky everyone, there's not a person that's listening to this broadcast right now that doesn't have it made. You know, and the reality, folks, is that think about the whole rest of the world. We could have been born anywhere. So, well, guess what? You know,
we're here.
We're here.
Yeah.
And if they're listening to that broadcast, you know, at least you get a computer. So we're in good shape. Right? I mean, you know, there's plenty of people, you know, across the world that are listening. But the reality is that you get a computer.
Yeah.
And it'd be great. What I think about it so much, too, is like, how does this work, you know? Because, hey, we could have been born in the jungle. And maybe that'd be all right.
And maybe.
You know, and maybe that's
what you know.
Maybe that's as good as we are. And that's a perception thing too.
It is. But I think what you're definitely addressing an important point, and that is some people are born into unfortunate circumstances,
tough places,
adverse family situations, you know, some abuse situations. So it's not that, again, you go back to that complacency. It's not that you aren't constantly striving to improve your situation. And so it's, what is that gives you that fire, right? It's a light inside your heart that makes you love yourself and respect yourself.
Right. There it is. No.
So that you're constantly striving to improve any situation. But at the same time, realize that in your heart you're perfect and you're undamaged and you're unstruck. In your heart, in our hearts, we are all beautiful, brilliant, timeless, infinite, perfect beings.
Well said. I like that.
Yeah.
That was well said.
Thank you.
Seriously.
Seriously. Look, I didn't make this stuff up. It's what I practice through yoga. And
no, but it's really cool because I believe that's the beginning of it. Because when you believe that, you're going to make sure everyone's all right. You can't walk by someone that's hurting.
That's right.
You know.
And wouldn't it be a better world if we all just took a minute to help somebody?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of one of the things that has been happening in our society for the last many, many years, decades, is we've all, I can't say we all, but a majority of us have become very self-centered and self-focused.
Right.
And we lose sight of the people around us who need help. And I think, if we all just take a little bit more time to focus on that, the world will be a better place.
Yeah.
And not only are we there for people.
You stretch your world yourself.
That's right.
And that is that's the give and take of energy. We keep getting back to that deal, but that's the real deal.
It is the real deal. It is.
And that's something we can't prove, by the way, but it's there. We were having this conversation last night. This is interesting. It's like, okay, what is spirit? Okay? And that's where I get into, listen, the more you keep getting rewarded for it, to me, it's there.
Yeah.
Well,
yoga offers an interesting perspective. Spirituality is an important concept in life. It gives you a lot of inspiration and hope. It helps prevent you from becoming apathetic in life. So I think what's interesting is just understanding that we are energy and we're all connected. I mean, that's science. That's proven, physics. And that nothing happens in a vacuum. You then get to define what that energy is. Is it just a connection between all of us?
Okay.
Is it God?
Right.
Is it universal consciousness? What is that essence that's bigger than you, that you are also a part of?
Right.
That's spirit. And how you define that and how you visualize it, it's there.
Right.
It's there. But you have to decide what that means to you.
And which is dynamite.
Yeah, I agree.
Which is fine, by the way, folks. It can be whatever it is. Grab it, because it's okay.
That's right.
That's seriously.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. So our next point from this Huffington Post article said, practice smiling. We talk about that in yoga a lot. Practice smiling, but it has to be a real smile. Can't be a fake smile, all right, because that can actually increase negative emotions. Number 8, I love this one. Plan a trip, but don't take one.
That's funny.
Because we all love planning and dreaming, and it gives you inspiration.
It does.
It makes you feel happy.
It does.
So just have something to look forward to, whether or not it happens, right? That's the thing. You put the energy into thinking, visualizing.
That's smart.
Yeah, and not worry about whether or not it's happening, because that's where the anxiety and the pressure comes in. Have fun dreaming. Meditate.
That's for sure.
Not even a question.
Right.
Meditate.
Right.
Rebuilds our state of mind. It helps you develop the perspective. The Buddhists would say non-stickiness, so that you're less attached to the outcome of things, that you are able to go a little bit more with the flow. We've talked on this show 100,000 times about the scientifically proven physical benefits of meditation. And so if everybody's got to give it a try. I mean, it's for everybody, I feel like anyone can do it.
Right.
And it is. That's the thing.
You're just breathing.
People make meditation too hard. And at least in the beginning, in the get-go, it should be relatively simple. So if you're finding it difficult, send me an email, Allie@AllieFord.com. Go to my website, AllieFord.com. I've got tips and tools online that anybody can use to start meditating. It's actually quite simple. I've got a free guided meditation on my website under teacher training resources. So meditate.
That's right. So the one, you have that, is it the 10-minute one?
It is a 10-minute guided meditation. So
the guided meditation.
Resources right here, and under iPods, Chants and Podcasts.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
It's a 10-minute mindfulness meditation. Right. And
you'll love it, folks.
I've had moms write me and say that they did it with their young children.
I love that one.
So it's very easy to get started. Lots of tools out there today. Now, I'm going to get down to my nitty-gritty favorites. Okay. So the 10th tip on this list is practice gratitude.
Yes.
And this is one thing that is, I think, a very constant thread that many of us should focus on in our life. So I would move this one up to top 5 for sure. Because again, when you just pause for a second, think of one thing. You could try it right now. Think of one thing in your life that you're grateful for. Just one. Just one. Are you doing it?
Yeah. Totally. I think a bunch of them, yeah. Sure.
It brings a smile.
Oh, it does.
It brings a smile to your laugh. So feel the sensation that thinking of something that you're grateful for brings. So, and you know, people would say take that into a bigger practice. Start with a gratitude journal every morning. You know, I would just say start with, in times when you're feeling stressed or worried, think of one thing you're grateful for and let that expand. That's a great idea. Let it expand. It's actually quite easy. You know, I think when we take on, we make these big lists. I'm going to start every morning with a gratitude journal. Yeah. Then I'm going to go exercise for 90 minutes, and then I'll meditate for 45. You got to set yourself up for success, not failure. Start small, all right? So start maybe thinking of one thing. So those are the top 10 listed by this article. I have top 5.
Okay.
So I think, again, let's start small. Let's make it manageable. First one we talked about, spend more time with your loved ones. Because when you feel alone, life is hard. So you surround yourself by love, and love is the greatest healer of all.
Right.
It makes you laugh. Sometimes if you need to cry, you've got someone to hug you. We talked about the healing, scientific, proven benefits of hugs. 16 minimum hugs a day.
16 a day.
To grow and thrive.
Okay.
So that's my first and foremost. I mean, you know, I think about this all the time because I consider myself a driven person.
Yes.
I love what I do, and at the same time, what I do will never, ever be a priority over my children.
Right.
So if I can, you know, if I'm out of town, which I am a lot, obviously, to teach yoga, I find a way to make up that time with my kids, you know, because I miss the weekends sometimes with them. Right. And I want them to know I love them, and I'm never going to get this time back, you know?
Totally, yeah.
So it's important, you know, we don't want to go to the deathbed regretting that we didn't have that time or we didn't tell those people that we love how we felt.
Right.
So that's my number one. The second one is eat right.
Yes.
So that's not on this list from the article, but it's one that I would put at the very top because when we eat bad food or too much food, we get sick.
Right.
And, you know, in yoga, we talk a lot about the mind-body connection, and it's real.
Oh, it's definitely
As Tom would say, it's real. Yeah. You know? When your body feels sick, what are you thinking about? How miserable you are.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Yeah. You're not going forward.
How much pain you're in, or, you know, how horrible life is because your back hurts, etc. If you eat healthy, you will feel better. So spend some time reviewing and researching what it is you eat. We do a lot of great shows on what is healthy for you to put in your body. And I know that if you just spend a little time working on that, we'll all feel better. Third one, which was at the top of the other list, we talked about exercise.
Right.
Now, this might be for you running. It might be walking. If you have somehow experienced an injury that's preventing you from doing what you love, like running, find something else to do.
Yeah, you can go swimming.
Yeah.
In the summer, at least, we go swimming all the time, but you can go swimming in the summer.
Of course. Yeah. Just avoid becoming sedentary. Move your body. Move your body. When we move our body, we increase the amount of oxygen to every cell in the body, and we need that to live and to survive and to thrive. So exercise, no question. Number 4, do something you love every day.
Right.
For me, it's laughing, it's singing, and I do it in my car when no one else can hear me.
I love it. Oh, that's so funny.
Cars will pull up next to me and I'm going to town.
I love it.
And I just own it. I'll turn to them and just pretend I'm singing to them.
Perfect.
Whatever it is.
Lucky them. That's good.
They always laugh, but you know, it's okay.
Totally.
I don't mind people laughing at me.
Right.
Laughing with me. Dancing in the living room. Do something you love every day. It might be riding. It might be, you know, riding your bike. Just make sure you're living your bliss, like Joseph Campbell said.
Yeah.
And then 5th, we talked about gratitude. And, you know, again, it's a great tool in yoga. We talked about just reversing your train of thought. If you find yourself worrying or wondering about the things you don't have, practice feeling grateful for something you do have, and it'll turn it around.
You know, those Joseph Campbell tapes are unbelievable.
Really? I haven't heard them.
Oh, my God.
I've read books, but I haven't heard the tapes.
Oh, you got to, yeah. I've heard quite a few of those tapes.
Yeah?
Well, they have him on, what is that public channel that we have right here? They do specials on him.
Oh, nice.
Oh, you got to listen to
He was a beautiful philosopher.
Yeah.
And,
I only got turned on from a few years ago. But that's
There's a great documentary called Finding Joe.
Okay.
That I highly recommend.
Really?
And it quotes a lot of Joseph Campbell's work.
Oh, cool.
And it's about, finding your bliss, living your bliss. Where does true happiness come from?
Right.
Which is really the question we started the show with. And hopefully it's clear that at the end of the day, happiness comes from inside.
Right.
It's not based on an external list or a choice from some menu the universe provides. It is a feeling and a choice that we have to develop, foster, and grow in our own heart, so that when we face adversity and challenging times in life, which, let's face it, we will.
Oh, absolutely. Right.
You still have some common ground to stand on, and that is a stable platform. And
it's like what you can say is that, okay, I'm not going to stay in this place, and that place, folks, can be, even if something really sad has happened. Of course. You can mourn and you can do all that, but you can't stay in there forever because you'll die.
That's right.
You'll waste away too.
That's right.
And the happiness can bring you to the, okay, I got to live.
Yeah.
And that's where the real key comes back to the first one you said about the love and the family and all that. You want to make sure that you're always taking care of someone here when you're here, so you don't have to worry about after the fact. Oh, I'm going to go to the funeral. You don't have to go to the funeral. Go to the life funeral.
Exactly.
Go to the life deal.
Throw a life celebration.
Yeah.
I'm with you. Well, that's exactly right. I mean, when you do have that place that you have identified with inside yourself, that is, joy, true joy in your heart, then no matter what you're going through in your life, you can always, you're going to get through it. And you don't lose sight of, the pure beauty available to us in each and every moment.
Right.
When you feel stuck as though something is going to be a certain way forever is when life gets very heavy.
Right.
And our eyes close and we stop seeing the pure opportunity for joy and happiness that's always there. So I just ask, ask our listeners to say, where are we basing our happiness? Is it based on something inside, or is it placed on external achievement? And I think that's a good place to start sort of self-analyzing.
No, it is. It's huge.
Doing self-reflection.
It's huge.
I agree.
Because if it's inside, you're going to make it through it.
Yeah,
that's the bottom line.
That's true.
And if it's external, guess what? It's going to get pulled.
That's right. You may never get it, because external things are always changing. So with that, I want to thank you so much for listening and joining us for this beautiful conversation. Tom, thank you so much for your insight. And we wish you health, wellness, and happiness from the inside out. We'll see you next week on Mindful Living. Namaste.
Namaste, folks. Have a great one. Have a safe one.
This is TFNN.